Hey guys, it's taking a second to come up. All right, so we're going to be reading the story Rosa Parks, My Story, You're Under Arrest. Once again, it's by Rosa Parks with Jim Haskins. When I got off from work in the evening of December 1st, I went to Court Square as usual to catch the Cleveland Avenue bus home. I didn't look to see who was driving when I got on, but by the time I recognized him, I had already paid my fare. It was the same driver who had put me off the bus back in 1943, 12 years earlier. He was still tall and heavy, with red, rough-looking skin, and he was still mean-looking. I didn't know if he had been on this route before. They switched the drivers around sometimes. I do know that most of the time, if I saw him on the bus, I wouldn't get on. I saw a vacant seat in the middle section of the bus, and I took it. I didn't even question why there was a vacant seat, even though there was quite a few people standing in the back. If I thought about it at all, I would probably have figured maybe someone saw me get on and did not take the seat but left it vacant for me. There was a man sitting next to the window and two women across the aisle. The next stop was the Empire Theater, and some of the whites got on. They filled up the white seats and one man left standing. The driver looked back and noticed the man standing. Then he looked back at us and said, "Let me have those front seats," because they were the I'll finish that little sentence here in a second, but here is the layout of the segregated bus in Montgomery in 1955. As you can see right here, here's your front entrance. Here's your front entrance, and you have a back entrance. Most of the time, the front entrance was the white entrance. The back was mostly for the African Americans or the black entrance. That's because it's just easier access to the seats. So you have the entrance for the front, you have the driver, of course, and you have this area right here that was designated only for the whites only. All right, then you have your middle section. Now, the African Americans could sit in this middle section as long as all the whites had seats. And of course, in the back, you had the African American seating. And this so happened to be where Rosa Parks was sitting. So, to finish that sentence, he said, "Let me have those front seats," because they were the front seats of the black section. Didn't anybody move? We just sat there where we were, the four of us. Then he spoke a second time. Y'all better make it light. Y'all better make it light of yourselves and let me have those seats. The man in the window seat next to me stood up, and I moved to let him pass by me. And then I looked across the aisle and saw that the two women were also standing. I moved over to the window seat. I could not see how standing up was going to, quote, make it light, end quote, for me. The more I gave in and complied, the worse they treated us. I thought back to the time when I used to sit up all night and didn't sleep, and my grandfather would have his gun right by the fireplace. Or if he had his one horse wagon going anywhere. He always had his gun in the back of the wagon. People always said that I didn't give up the seat because I was tired. But that isn't true. I was not tired physically, or no more tired than I usually was at the end of a working day. I was not old, although some people have an image of me being old then. I was 42. No, the only tired I was, tired of giving in. The driver of the bus saw me still sitting there, and he had asked was I going to stand up. I said no. He said, "Well, I'm going to have you arrested." Then I said, "You may do that." These were the only words we said to each other. I didn't even know his name, which was James Blake, until we were in court together. We got out of the bus and stayed outside for a few minutes, waiting for the police. As I sat there, I tried not to think about what might happen. I knew that anything was possible. I could be manhandled or beaten. I could be arrested. People have asked me if it occurred to me then that I could be a test case for the NAACP had I been looking for it. I did not think about that at all. In fact, I had to let myself think too deeply about what might happen to me. I might have gotten off the bus, but I chose to remain. Meanwhile, there were people getting off the bus and asking for transfers. So that began to loosen up the crowd, especially in the back of the bus. Not everyone got off, but everyone was very quiet. What conversation there was in low tones. No one was talking out loud. It would have been quite interesting to have seen the whole bus empty out, or if there were, or if the other three had stayed where they were, because if they'd had to arrest four of us instead of one, they would have given me a little support. But it didn't matter. I never thought hard of them at all, and never even bothered to criticize them. Eventually, two policemen came, they got on the bus, and one of them even asked me why I didn't stand up. I asked him, "Why do you all push us around?" He said, and I quote him exactly, "I don't know, but the law's the law and you're under arrest." One policeman picked up my purse, and the second picked up my shopping bag and escorted me to the squad car. In the squad car, they returned my personal belongings to me. They did not put their hands on me or force me into the car. After I was seated in the car, they went back to the driver and asked him if he wanted to swear out a warrant. He answered that he would finish his route and then come straight back to swear out the warrant. I was only in custody, not legally arrested, until the warrant was signed out. As they were driving me to the city desk at City Hall near Court Street, one of them asked me again, "Why didn't you stand up when the driver spoke to you?" I didn't answer. I remained silent all the way to City Hall. Rosa Parks was born in Tuskegee, Alabama, February 4th, 1913. Known as the First Lady of Civil Rights, Park was a long-life civil rights activist and a member of the NAACP, where she worked as a youth leader and then secretary to the NAACP president. On December 1st, 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama, Parks refused to give up her seat on a public bus for a white passenger after the white-only section of the bus was filled up. She was arrested, and the legal case that followed became a starting platform for the citywide Montgomery boycott, which would then launch a nationwide effort to end the segregation of public facilities. Parks died in 2005 and is remembered as the icon of the civil rights movement. Now, a little history behind this. The Montgomery bus boycott actually did go nationwide, and to the extent of where it affected Tennessee, that a big one happened in Chattanooga, Tennessee, around this time, to the point where many of the bus routes had to close, or the bus companies had to close. So that is the story of Rosa Parks. You are under arrest by Rosa Parks with Jim Haskins. Now, you will have an assignment for Monday. It is to get details, so that will be in a different video. If you need to listen to this, read the story, and I suggest you go back and read the story again just to help by yourself, or you can read it aloud to somebody. But you also have 4 questions that you are allowed to use your. Actually, I would like for you to use your text to go back and look for answers. So that is posted on Google Classroom, and I will talk to y'all later.